Welcome to this episode of the Teach, Lead, and Expire podcast, where Jordan and his son dive into real talk about family, legacy, and the challenges that are shaping men's lives today. From personal reflections on the changing climate, both in the world and in society, to candid father-son discussions, they explore how values, resilience, and intentional living can shape the future for generations to come. This episode isn't just about looking back. It's about building forward. With humor, honesty, and a few surprising tangents, conversation lays the foundation for what it means to create a lasting legacy in health, wealth, and relationships. This week's episode focuses on the student loan trap for educators. Yeah. And because I look at all the other vitals yesterday I went to Anaheim. So I was at the Anaheim Majestic Garden Hotel, and I went down there as part of the CCEA, which is the Continuation Education Association for the state of California. So I've been working with this association for the last 7 years. So I've been doing presentations at their conferences. I participate in model school visits. So that's what it was. We were actually evaluating reading and grading applications for schools that submitted applications to become model schools. And then so we go through this grading process, and we did that. And then it was good to be able I really enjoyed because I'm able to get back and actually talk with other educators. And when I go, they recognize me because, see, I've been active. So I've been actually been doing the presentations at the conferences, as well as going out and doing the evaluations for schools. And so people know me as Dr. Smith when they see me walking around. That's a doc. Yeah, doc, thank you for help. Because the last time I did a presentation was on AI, how to use AI to help improve your life as a teacher, but also to help kids. So I did that. And so that was pretty good there. Uh, you knocked out the router. Okay. So so I'm here by myself a little bit as I was mentioning, talking about that. My grandson knocked over the router. And so it's going to take a little bit for my son to come back up and this is going to be cute. But hey, that's life. Life happens like that. Okay. Still here. I'm up here texting him, letting him know still here. Um, so anyway, I really enjoyed getting back with the educators. Sitting down when I had a real good conversation with a PE teacher, and this guy uh, was a teacher actually working in corporate world, got laid off during the pandemic, and wind up changing and transitioning and becoming a high school PE teacher. Very simple to just like me. I was in the Marines and transitioned for bartending and everything else. Decided woke up and decided to go ahead and substitute teaching, and found out that that was something that I really liked. And next thing I know, 20 years, but I'm still actively participating in that. So I'm gonna wait till my oh, I'm up here looking at here. Ooh. I-
Reef.
yeah. I'm up here. Oh, anyway. Oh,
I'm
this is
gonna need to. I'm
interesting.
gonna need to just figure out where I can rent a studio at somewhere in freaking town, just so I can be just disappear for these months. Oh, quiet, quiet. You okay? We
Pretty.
get it. Your mama's home. There's no need for you to bark like an idiot. Or row, nothing. Row, oh, nothing.
Is this a dog you talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First, and so now I'll keep that in. I thought it might be you talking to one of my grandsons.
No, I'm talking to my dog. I'm talking to my German Shepherd. She thinks she a person.
Oh, well, no, I understand that. Our little dog Ivy, she definitely thinks she is a person. Oh
She
my
thinks she a
God.
daggone person.
Yeah, yeah. So I was
Oh,
happy to get away
gotta
from
talk to her as such.
the.
Like, dag nabbit, if you don't daggone be quiet and sit your butt down
uh,
somewhere, be like, we heard the horn. We know your mama home.
oh, see now it's just like so Ivy. That's definitely uh, Carolyn's dog. Okay, and she just follows her everywhere and everything else and stay. And when Carolyn wants to go to the store and get her hair done and stuff, then she's gonna be howling. The dog's up and howling. "Ow, ow," and stuff. I'm saying, will you shut up? I'm about to try to get some work. See up and howling and stuff.
she,
So,
she
oh
she
man,
starts
but
barking
then,
because she heard Misty pull up in the pickup truck and blow the horn because she got groceries, right? So she
oh
want the
yeah,
boys come on and get, you know what I'm saying, get the groceries.
yeah.
So as soon as she hears that horn, we like, we hear the horn, we know. They're like, calm down.
Oh Lord, mercy. So, um, the other thing I wanted to go into was kind of revisit a little bit on student loans. So we kind of, a little bit. So let me go ahead and share a couple of clips. I'm gonna share one of the clips, and
Yeah,
then we're
sure.
gonna talk about it. Okay, so let's go share again here, and then okay, let's talk about this one. Okay, I'm getting better with this sharing. So let's go ahead and talk about this one right here. We're gonna go talk about her.
I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years, have a 17% interest rate. I am over $100,000 in debt because of student loans.
There was a girl on here. They had 600K in student loans, bro.
So today we're going to be taking a look at some really bad debt, specifically student loans. I don't have to tell you how popular of a topic this is to talk about right now, especially because it's something you can't really escape. You can't go bankrupt and start over with this kind of debt. On top of that, the payments starting up again, interest accruing every single day, and yeah, people have a lot to say about it. We have many examples to go over today, along with some comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with a loan that has a 17% interest rate.
So as it turns out, the student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time, I'm actually like, I owe more than what I started off with.
So that one really tripped me out. So the so she starts out on, on the whole video when she starts out, she starts crying and she wants to ask Jeff Bezos and Jeff Bezos to give her money, or and then she started harping on Kim Kardashian. She has 8 houses, so she have 8 houses. I know you got a little extra money to help me to pay off my student loans.
Be like, neither one of them is worried about student loans. That's your dumb fault. I just
I know. Well, here's the part. Okay, now, so I mean, with everything else, she's not the only one that's been
yeah.
there. Um, Again, I mentioned I just came back from Anaheim at the conference, and I was able to be around other teachers and educators. And so I'd use that since I knew we were going to be talking about student loans. I'd use that platform of exposure, and these are seasoned teachers that have been around to
Mm-hmm.
ask them questions to see if they had some of the same experiences that I had or experiences of the videos. Okay, so these are the real teachers. I wish I had a mic and everything else. Now I'm thinking about it. When I go to my next conference, I'm actually going to have a little mic set up so I can do a little personal one-on-one from my podcast and talk to teachers about their experience with student loans. So of the ones that was there, we all had some things that were in common. When any teacher that came in to become a teacher in between 2001 and 2014. Between 2001 and 2014, there was something called this NCLB Act of 2001, brought to us because of President George Bush. He
Right.
thought about perfection. He says that our scores are too low. And as a result, our scores are too low, that we need highly qualified teachers. And he set a goal that each school had to show progress and needed to have 100% of the students to all be proficient on the state test for language arts and math.
Mm.
Yeah, pipe dream, but it was okay. But they didn't have a choice because all the schools will follow in. Why? Because we're getting federal money.
Hmm.
So that required when I came in to be a teacher, that's why my bachelor's was not enough. I mean, I had already been substituting, already showing and helping these kids turn around, but they were requiring me on paper that I had to have this master's. So that required me to go and get my master's. And
Right.
here's all how the whole game is played. So you think now you know that there was the big gamut. When I went to start to try to teach, I go to these districts and I would ask them, how do I get my credential? And they were all clueless as to how. Their answer was, you have to go to a university. And I would say, what? Yeah, you have to go to a university. It's a racket. Okay. They knew that we needed to have masters up under this new thing.
Hmm.
Okay. So school districts did not provide any other alternatives of how you could actually teach without the masters. Everything was funneling to that way because the districts were being um, subject to losing money if they hire a teacher who didn't have the master's. So they can hire you if you're in the master's program, even though you hadn't completed it. But
Gotcha.
anyway, long story short, we all got into this trap of completed, and we said, okay, guess what? Because all I had to do is fill out an application. I didn't have to take any money out of my pocket. I didn't have to make any payments. Didn't have to make any payments until after I got out of school. And I knew that on my pay scale, on the district pay scale, that by the time I completed my master's, I was going to move over 3 columns and I could see how much more money I was going to get. And to
Right.
me, it was going to be a significant amount. It was about 15, $20,000 different. No problem. I said, yeah, I do that. So I did it. Why? I didn't care because at the point in time, I wasn't making any payments. There was no. It's not like when you go buy a car. You go buy a car, and I would spend $60,000 on a car, and I get an $800 a month car payment. As soon as 30 days, it's going to hit me. Reality, I know I got an $800 payment. Okay. But these student loans, you borrowing 10, 15, $20,000, or you're setting it up and you only see the initial amount of how much it is costing for that first class.
Right.
That first disbursement was like $3,500 for that one class. And so I'm thinking $3,500. Oh no, but I keep forgetting that every time I go and do finish one class and start the next class, another $3,500 and another
Starts
35,
compounding. Starts
another 30.
compounding. Starts
That's right.
compounding.
Right. And while I'm not paying on it, then interest is accruing and they capitalize that interest up on that. And that interest is on there. The interest is on there. So you think that these loans are sweet because you ain't got to have credit check. You can have terrible credit and get a student loan. Okay. You don't have to make your payments. They make it too easy to get in. And then the other thing was the people, just like we were dealing with cars, this poor girl, she was talking about 17%. She not once did she look at that interest, or really, she may have seen the document because I know we all got
Hmm.
received that loan document for that
But we don't
initial.
think about the interest rate. Lots of times we don't think about the payment.
Oh,
All we see is how much money they're about to give us for school. That's it.
right.
And most of the time, we're only thinking about it because in lots of situations, depending on if you're going to school in state or out of state, you're looking at that amount versus what you actually owe for that class versus what your books are versus how much you could potentially have left. And that's what happens lots of times. They get in that trap where, oh, well, I'm an in-town student. I'm not an out-of-town student, but school only costs me, or this class is only going to cost me, say, 1250. Books is going to be another 250. but you telling me if I sign this piece of paper, you're gonna give me $6,000. Okay.
Yeah. 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 You're right. But because in the very beginning, that was the other thing they gave. Right. There was like $3,500, but right, they do an reimbursement for 6,000, and so you get that extra 1,500. So you're feeling happy because you getting this extra money. Not only am I going to school, not only did I get a loan, not only do I not have to pay on it, but hey, the other thing is that they're going to give me even extra money. This is free money.
Yeah, it's free until you're crying like the girl in the TikTok at the 17%. I've been paying for 2 years, $1,700 a month.
Oh Lord.
And
So
I owe more now than I did when I started.
yeah, obviously, because compound interest is one of the subjects that most people fail. Why? Because it's connected to decimals and percents and fractions.
You're
Although
not,
I
you're not
remember,
wrong. You're not wrong.
no, definitely. I remember my grandson. Oh, Nick. Uh, if I hadn't have came along, he would never graduated from high school. But I came along because he had me as someone that could teach him math and explain it to him where it was where he could understand it, and
Right.
he passed, he got through it and stuff like that. And then I remember he was going to Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby had opened up a store inside a little local mall here, a little rinky-dink mall. Did that, and so he got up and stood in line starting at 3 o'clock in the morning when they were accepting applications. The first thing they did when he came through, they gave him a test. And he opened up that test, and it was math, and it had fractions and decimals and percents on it. He just started, tears was going out in his eyes, and he came back to me and he said, "Well, I found out, I found out when I was going to have to use that math after graduation."
Hold on, wait a minute. I have to chime in here though. The only sad thing about jobs that give you tests like that is you never ever will use any of that math that they just had you do on that test. And it infuriates me because how you gonna give somebody a test, ask them all of these questions about stuff that has no application to said job I'm applying for.
Yeah.
You hired me to mop a floor. As long as I can do the ratio of the dilution of the solution to the daggone water, I'm good. Or you hired me to stock a shelf. As long as I can remove said item from box and read the label to know where it goes, I don't need to know 1.5 minus 3/2 plus 1/4. It doesn't apply to my job.
Yeah,
It doesn't. But yet you want to use that as a way to thin the herd.
Well, there's also the other reason why they do that, because I've already thought about that too as well. So the reason they do it, like for instance, have you ever had an employer ask you for a copy of your high school diploma?
No.
Ah, bingo. Okay. No. Matter of fact, okay, have you ever gotten an airplane and matter of fact, have you ever went to a doctor's office and asked the doctor what was his GPA?
Yes.
You actually asked him what his GPA was?
Yeah. All right. So I gotta tell you the story.
Yeah, I gotta hear that.
So the reason being is because when me and Misty were, you know what I'm saying, younger, we had first got married and everything else, and we had just had little Jordan, and he was sick. We was going back and forth to the doctors and everything else. And then, now, mind you, we're on base.
Right.
I'm not gonna say what base we were at, but the military care there sucked back then.
Right.
Probably still sucks. But anyway, and so we're having to go back and forth, taking back and forth. And you know me, I'm the kind of guy that I've always been able to talk to people, and people just tell me whatever, blase, blah, this, blah, their life story. So I'm just talking to them and asking them, you know, how they become a doctor in the military, and just making the small talk. And he just divulged everything. And then not only that, not only was I concerned about so it made me, prompted me, I should say, to ask him about his GPA, was when he told me that he wasn't always pre-med. So then I'm just like, pause, time out. But you're a doctor right now, and you're working on my child's case, but you didn't always want to be a doctor? Which one to be first? Oh, I want to be an accountant. Stop, pause, time out. What made you want to go from crunching numbers to cracking bones? You know what I'm saying? Explain this one to me. Oh, I realized that I could get, X, Y, and Z more money if I went ahead and went the doctor route instead of staying an accountant. I was like, so you just changed over and went pre-med, took all of those courses, right? He was like, no. You only are required to take certain pre-required courses, and then you can switch over to be medical.
Okay.
I was just like,
you found
so
a
what
loophole.
course? So it was literally just a case of him, because he had like these 2 math classes and this 1 science class. They allowed him to switch from being
Right.
a finance major to a medical major, and then he went ahead and went on to be a doctor. And then that's what prompted me to ask him, what was your GPA? and he barely carried a C average.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
I've had,
it's scary when you think about it.
I've had to student, but that's not the only case. Okay, when I first became a teacher as a substitute teacher in San Jacinto, there was a teacher that he was a floater. In other words, the school had started growing, so they didn't have enough physical classrooms, and so the way that they did that was that they wind up using a float, where the teacher didn't have a regular classroom, but what he would do is go to other class. He would go to the classroom because of the teacher. For instance, if I get 6 periods, I only taught classes for 5 periods, and I had a prep.
Right.
That prep meant I didn't have any kids in my classroom, and so that guy was a floater. They would build a schedule around those classrooms
that were empty
in the prep, right? And so they would wind up rotating in order to do that. Well, this guy shared with me the fact that when he was in school, because for his graduation. Now, when I was growing up in school, in order to graduate, you needed to have a 2.0. You needed to have a C average.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how it was in Missouri. You needed to have a C average. Otherwise, you can't. You ain't graduating. Okay. Well, that's not the case across the country. In California, you don't have to have a C average to graduate. You need to pass the course. To pass the course is the D. You could have So this guy, he had a 1.45 GPA when he graduated high school.
Yeah, and he running around trying to teach somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, well,
how you gonna teach somebody else and you won't understand it the first time through yourself?
He was lazy. He didn't care about the test. He didn't show up. But again, it was like, wait a minute, you get a 1.45 GPA in high school, and then you wind up becoming a teacher. Okay. Yeah. So now that was the thing about, at least when I got my loan, that was the other thing. So when I did get my student loans and I'm going through my master's programs, see, I was required that I had to have a B for the course. I had to have a B for each course, everything else. And your whole average had to be there. Yeah. But yeah.
If they had raised the standards by the time you had went through, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I legitimately feel that even nowadays, with a lot of these smaller schools and these smaller school districts, that's a similar case.
Yeah.
Where you necessarily don't have the educators there in place that might have been the best students themselves. And that's why when they're faced with situations with children that are actually smarter than them, they feel threatened, and they like to say things that you probably shouldn't say to a child, especially one that is growing and developing if you want them to be a good person. You hear these stories of, teachers telling children things like, oh, your brain's just too rigid to learn.
Tell them exactly who it was.
And it's like, wow, really? Like you're really going to say that to a child just because they're smarter than you? And they're able to learn, at a rate that is a little bit higher than everyone else in the class. So you want to say things like that to them instead of trying to put them in a position to foster that growth.
Yeah.
Man, get out of here with that nonsense. That that makes it a little bit better to understand now. Yeah.
It is amazing on there. So I've always on that GPA because my GPA at Annapolis was 2.78. Um, but there at Annapolis, the service academy, it's not just my academics. I had other things that we had to do. I had to have
Right.
sports. I had other activities and things that you had to be responsible for. And plus, I was focused on my goal. My goal was to be that company commander,
Right.
and I spent more time in the militia, but as far as with drill and instruction and leadership, and that was me. And so that's what I focused on. When I got out, but then also see at Annapolis, so a 2.78 at the Naval Academy when I was going through in 72 to 76. My minimum semester load was 18 semester hours. There was some in my junior year that I had 22 semester hours. When I went, here's reality hit. Reality hit was in my senior year when we're growing up and Navy's playing Syracuse,
Hmm.
and we drive up the coast. Me and my buddy, my roommate, he had a car, and we go up there to watch the game, and then we were able to, and then we got invited by some of the other college, Syracuse with the
Yeah.
Syracuse people and everything else. They had a party, so we went to a party, and that was good. Of course, we were going to go to the party because we don't have a chance to party at Annapolis, you know. And so we go, and then I get a chance to strike up conversations. And I'm finding that you're talking about 12 semester hours. I'm saying 12
Yeah.
semester hours. And see, the rule of thumb is that you need 2 hours of study for every. So if you get 12 hours, 12 semester credits, you're needing 24 hours of out of class study
Right.
time for that semester. So our minimum was 18. No wonder I started wearing glasses and stuff because I remember as a freshman having to read 200 pages of damn naval sea power with a flashlight, with with a flashlight, lights out, the lights are out,
Yeah.
but I'm up under my blanket and my sheet with a flashlight reading the damn Navy sea powers because I had 200 pages a night to read, and that's when I was saying, "Oh, gee, I wish I was my brother there." But I should have spent more time on speed reading, but I didn't. But again, 12 semesters. So when I'm up here in Anaheim, I had a chance to talk to these teachers, and we talked about the student loans, and they all, in this case, had the situation where they had to go ahead and get the student loans, and specifically pressured to get the masters in order to keep their jobs and incur the student loans. And how because the time point, whether you have family, you made decision to, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to I don't have the money out of the budget to make those payments now. So instead, I'll just go in and stay in school. So
Right.
to do that, and that was a form of what we call that was supposed to be working. It didn't really work, but you had, so out of the teachers, I'm finding out at least 45% of the teachers currently teaching right now have student loan debt. Okay. 45% of them have it. But they have a means of paying it, and there's a way that you can work the system to work on it. But also, the really is that the biggest thing is that this thing about the public service loan forgiveness thing, that sham really hurt a lot of people
Right.
because we said, okay, I ain't gonna worry about this because as long as I'm working over 10 years, as long as I make my payments, that my loan is going to be forgiven. And it turned out, nope, guess
Nope.
what? It ain't being forgiven. And the reality hits. Okay. That's the bad part of it. But the other thing is when I was talking to them about their semester, their average semester is 12.
Yeah.
12. But they're taking 4 classes that are 3 credit classes, and that's what they take. 12. Yeah. And I say I'm looking back to what I had, 18 to 22 hours per semester. No wonder we couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have
Yeah.
time. Didn't have time to go anywhere. But oh man. Let me go ahead and play this other clip here on this other enlightened tool. Let's see here.
Here's what you need to know about student loan interest. If you watch this video all the way through, you'll be able to figure out exactly how much interest your student loans are accruing every single day. To put it simply, interest is a fee that you pay for the privilege of borrowing money. So if you borrowed $10,000 to pay for college, Not only will you be responsible for repaying that $10,000, but you'll also be responsible for paying some additional interest fees, maybe in the range of $30 to $50 per month during the time in which you're paying that loan back. There are two types of interest rates you can get on a student loan: fixed interest rates and variable interest rates. The difference between these two is critical, and it could have a major impact on the amount of interest fees you get charged as you repay your loan. Fixed interest rates are set at the time you take out the loan and will never change. Variable interest rates, on the other hand, are subject to change at any time based on the state of the economy. You could take out a loan with a variable interest rate, and it may literally change tomorrow. You don't want your personal financial situation to be at the mercy of the economy. So if you need to select between a variable interest rate and a fixed interest rate, I would urge you to go with the fixed option. The bad news is that knowing how much you're paying for interest fees.
All right. So we got, in this case, another thing. So when you get your loan, there are the two different interest rates. And the same thing, like for instance, and that relates out into the regular world. Like for instance, let's talk about, like for instance, home loans. Okay. Home loans. That market crash in 2007, 2008 happened by a couple of things. One, they didn't have fixed interest loans. They got the variable interest loan, otherwise known as an ARM. Yeah, they call them ARMs.
Adjustable rate mortgage.
Adjustable rate mortgage, where they start out that they're going to give it to you at 3% when the current market right now is 6%, and either give you like 2 to 3 years of that, and then it bumps up. And people say, okay, well, the logic is if you have inflation and you have the house and the interest rate, as you're paying down the principal, but your house is appreciating, not interest, but your house is appreciating in value, then you can actually refinance again, for that and do those. But if the market goes down for the houses, and that's exactly what happened as everything cashed in, then they couldn't do it. So you're right. So now on student loans, not only are people not looking at the interest rate and how much interest and stuff they're paying, the other thing is what kind of rate do you have?
Yep, they're not looking at what kind it is, whether it's fixed or
Right.
variable.
And you have
and I guarantee you, old girl that was crying about that 17 probably has an adjustable rate.
Yes, you had
a variable rate. It's probably been fluctuating these last 2 years, and her not ever even knowing it.
Not even. And especially if you were at school. So in her case, she was saying how she owes more. Well, yeah, it does. And the other part is that people don't realize that when they do have their loans, and you have the servicing agents, which are the ones we're making our payments to, is that when you get the loan, no one ever goes over that servicing agent page and exactly how to check and get your information. And I may just wind up doing that actually on there. Maybe I put that on probably here with our next show, actually go over the servicing thing to show people where you find out what your interest rate is, where your payments, how much you made in the account history. Either probably I can actually even add that as a separate little video, and I'll just use that as a link. I'll probably do that because I think a lot of people that may just want to listen to that and stuff. So, oh man, the traps and stuff that you get yourself into, but and you got to have those conversations and stuff. I mean, that was the part that I really enjoyed about this podcast, is that we're having conversations and sharing about different concepts that, just like, for instance, when I went to get my first car and everything else, I didn't have anybody in there talking to me about this finance and stuff. I only knew one thing. I wanted the car and how much did I have to pay. I didn't care about anything else, you know? And then the other thing I have to realize, he said, you need to think about car insurance, how much that's going to cost you.
And something else that folks don't think about when they're getting a car, or the type of car they're getting or anything of that nature, is what type of maintenance fees are you also going to incur on said vehicle?
Yeah.
That was something that for me personally didn't even really really truly register until I started buying more expensive vehicles, luxury vehicles, and things of that nature. Because let me tell you, the upkeep on a freaking Honda Accord versus the upkeep on the freaking Mercedes AMG is two different realms. Doesn't even matter if it's new or used. People need to keep that in mind. And that's something else that at some point we might want to have a podcast about is the pitfalls of people, purchasing these vehicles. And
Yeah.
because I don't know if we've had that. And that's something that we both can speak to because we both have been in that business before. We both have sold cars.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that because matter of fact, that'd be good. So we've been talking about student loans. I think it's appropriate because of the most important biggest expenses of what we spend on. So we got car purchase,
Yep.
we're talking about home purchase, that's mortgages. Need to talk about that. God, what was the other one? It should be sticking on there. Car, mortgage. What was the other one? Buying a car, buying a house. We already got student loans, but it was something else I'm thinking of.
Student loans, car, house.
Yeah, we already got car.
That's all I can think of outside of course, having a child. That's the only other huge financial burden that a lot of people don't anticipate or think about.
Yes, and planning for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and planning for on that. What they do. Oh, private. That's where the other thing was. For instance, on the student loans and everything else, was that you have two different loans. Whether you get a government loan or you get a private loan.
Right.
And really the thing about especially coming up, like for instance, one thing on student loans is you can't file bankruptcy. It can't be it can't be discharged.
Be like you can file bankruptcy, but the student loans still finna be there.
Right. Yeah. So the student loan is still going to be there, especially because of the federal.
That's how you know it's a true scam.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't get a bankrupt. Now, unless I'm trying to see. No, I still think it's even the same thing on the private. But you don't have on the private loan. If you get the private loan, see, you don't have the forbearance or the deferments on a lot of those. I bet maybe on some of them.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and check back on that. But I know that I don't have private loans. All of mine have been either subsidized or not subsidized. And that's the other difference there. The difference between subsidized and non-subsidized.
Right.
One of the things that I did do in between time I have drafted up a little book called Smarter Student Loan Playbook. Smarter Student Loan Playbook. And I'll put the QR code in here on that. And what that is the link. It's just a little booklet that I drew together that goes over and explains all the different types of loans and also different methods and stuff about trying to get rid of your student debt and everything else on that. So done that. The other thing, when we first started out, you mentioned one of the goals and stuff that you said that you wanted to do was to be able to do a Christmas song together.
Yeah.
Okay, to do a Christmas song. So we're going to need to go ahead and pick that out and everything else. But I'm going to go ahead and do that off air. So you have anything else to add and everything else? Because I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. I am going to put the link up for the Lifeline screening for folks and stuff. Do you want to do that? I'm also going to put up the a QR code for the Smarter Student Loan Playbook, and I'm going to go ahead and put that up. And that'll be for all our guests and everything else. So let everybody know that we're done for the day.
I was gonna say I'll just give the guest an update for those that have been with us long enough that might have been with us prior to my accident and everything else.
Oh yeah.
I have gotten my pins removed from my wrist. So I am starting the recovery process to be able to regain full motion in my hand and wrist again. And for those that do watch the podcast, I can actually move. I can move slightly.
Move it. Oh, that's
I don't have as much movement yet as this one.
Right, but you can move.
But hey, I can
move.
That's
good. That is good. All right, so you still got physical. You got physical therapy that you go into.
I have occupational therapy, physical therapy, something scheduled here later next month.
Okay.
Back up.
All right. Cool. All right. No, she's in it now.
I got to
I actually kind of like it. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna keep it in.
That's fine. That's fine. There she is again.
There she is. All right.
Just trying to get my necklace on, Dad.
Yeah, I know. It looks like you were dealing with your hair there.
Yes, I am. I haven't combed it yet.
Okay. All right.
25 years chained to the loan. Principles climbing, eating marrow from bone. Deferred dreams stacked like bricks in a cell. Forbearance whispers, welcome to hell. Interest a feast, this a feast of famine. Going at the core, your savings abandoned. Subsidized savor, now just a pause. While the principal grows with predatory claws. They say it's the key to the sky, but they never teach you how to fly. Why buy a lock just to lose the key? Why trade you due for a debt decree? Public service, they call it grace, but it's a lifetime race, a paper chase. The student loan trap, no cap collapse, and paying interest so the balance snaps. Subsidized lines, the wait don't fade. 25 years, the debt parade. Golden chains in a velvet box. Promises wrapped in paradox. They say the dream they paid a toll. A guilty cage to steal your soul. Facts of forms and a dotted line. They say it's yours, but it's never mine. Math they skip, but the bills on time. The numbers climb, the mountains blind. They say it's the key to the sky, but they never teach you how to fly. Why buy the lock just to lose the key? Why trade you due for a debt decree? Public service, they call it great, but it's a lifetime race, a paper chase. The student loan trap, no cap collapse.
Thank you for watching and or listening to Teach, Lead, and Expire, the Father-Son podcast. This is Jordan, and on behalf of my son, have a great week.